Bitcoin opens up the imagination and possibilities of a global digital currency. The blockchain technology that comes with Bitcoin has put our society in an incredible time. Huobi is actively involved in this wave of rising digital assets in 2013, helping to enlighten Chinese people in digital currency investment. Huobi has made a brilliant achievement in taking the highest market share and received the highest trading volume in China. At present, Huobi Group is opening a global integrated digital asset transaction services with a strong focus on customer service. Huobi Group has set up operations and service centers in Singapore, Hong Kong, Seoul, Tokyo, Beijing, and Shenzhen. With our new base in the beautiful Singapore, Huobi Group will bring quality educational and service experiences to millions of users of digital assets in 130 countries and regions.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Huobi Talk. I'm Nikita Sachdev. You can call me Nikki, your host for the program tonight. We are streaming live from the leading global financial center in Asia, Singapore, where the Huobi Pro headquarters is based. Huobi Talk is the #1 talk show that gives you insights into the world of blockchain, delivering to you blockchain developments, bringing to you data-driven, content-rich information with the stories behind technology. Join us as we dive deep into conversations surrounding blockchain and the endless possibilities of the future of cryptocurrency. So before we begin, let's go over the calendar for the week. We will be introducing a new token every day, and we will have attractive prizes to give away every day with the tokens that we'll be talking about. So today we're bringing you news on the latest trends in cryptocurrency. As we're streaming live, we want to make this interactive. So as we move along, if you guys have any questions, please feel free to drop them in the comment section, and we will pick a few to answer later. You guys will be happy to know that we will be giving away a total of 1.5 million CDC tokens over 6 questions tonight. We also have an exciting surprise for you today as well. So if you'd like to find out about what it is, you got to stay tuned till the end of the program. Here's a hint. Listen carefully to the points that we'll be covering, and if you're lucky, you may stand a chance to win something exciting. On this side, we're also having a bonus airdrop activity. Simply screenshot this live streaming, tweet it, and tag Huobi Pro with your remarks. For example, "Thank you, Huobi Pro. I learned so much." To qualify for the bonus airdrop of many tokens, comment here with your UID, space, Twitter post URL. Top 10 most retweeted posts by the next day, 12 noon, will win. The airdrop will happen after the project successfully gets listed onto Hadax for trading. If the project is not successfully listed, then there will be no airdrop. All right, so Hadax voting and listing rules. You guys will definitely be interested to know how the voting process on Hadax is. Let's get our director to play this demonstration video. Director?
Hi, I'm going to show you how to vote on the Hadax platform in this video. First of all, go to hadax.com. On the top right corner, click on Login button. Log in using your Huobi Pro account ID. Key in your password, slide to verify. Click Login. Key in your Google Authenticator code. Once confirmed, you are in. Scroll down to the project that you would like to vote for. So for instance, the first one, you want to vote for UUU. Click on Vote Now. Select the number of votes you would like to cast. Please remember, per vote costs 0.1 HT and this is non-refundable. Once you have finalized on the number of votes to cast, slide to verify and click Confirm. Here's another example again. Choose the number of votes, verify the figure, slide to confirm, and finalize. That's all. Thank you.
Okay, and here are the rules of voting. Only verified users of Huobi Pro can participate in the voting. Users must use Huobi token HT to vote. Each user must vote at least one vote for each project and can vote up to 1 million votes. You have to spend 0.1 HT for each vote. There are no limits for the projects you can vote on. Huobi tokens will not be refunded once been paid. Here are the rules of listing. 1 Huobi token equals to 10 votes. Each user must cast at least one vote for each project and can cast up to a total of 10 million votes. The projects which are qualified for the final listings must be voted by over 1,000 users. Top 10 tokens will get listed on Hadax, traded against Bitcoin and Ethereum on Hadax successfully in 5 working days according to the vote rankings when the voting ends. Since the launch of Huobi Autonomous Digital Asset Exchange, Hadax, on February 3rd, we saw hundreds of tokens projects supported by thousands of users. As of February 8th, 4 p.m., 75 projects received over 30 million votes from over 60,000 real-world users worth 3.02 Huobi token votes. Today, the price of Huobi tokens is at 2.5 USDT. It is an impressive growth and reflects the voting popularity in the entire community. Let's go over yesterday's U-Network live stream. During the last episode, live streaming yesterday, Huobi global digital marketer and host for the last evening, Herbert Sim, along with Ben Albaz, project leader of U-Network, gave away a total of 5 million UUU tokens via airdrop. Now, just to go over Hadax and voting rules, the situation of voting today, the rank of CDC. In total, we have 75 tokens listed for voting on Hadax at the moment for Phase 1. However, because of the time constraints, we are not able to interview all of them on the Huobi Talk Show. But just because the tokens are not part of the show does not mean that they are no good. We just haven't had the time to cover all of them. So these tokens may still get listed onto Hadax eventually. That being said, we welcome more token project parties on the Huobi Talk Show to explain their project and blockchain technology utilized. I'd like to now introduce you guys to Yang Ning. Yang Ning is a co-founder of Commerce Data Connection, CDC, and is mainly responsible for the technical aspects of the business. He has a Master's of Electrical Engineering from Stanford University, USA. He is one of the earliest entrepreneurs in the China internet industry, the founder and CTO of ChinaRen.com, the most famous social forum in China. In 2002, Yang Ning founded Kongnet. 2 years later, in 2004, the company was successfully listed on the NASDAQ in the US, becoming a legend in the entire Chinese internet industry, as China's youngest listed company in the United States. In 2017, Yang Ning co-founded Commerce Data Connection, CDC, Consumer Chain, a platform that addresses consumer data realization in blockchain. Commerce Data Connection aims to change the traditional pattern of consumer data creation and data acquisition, user analysis, distribution, marketing, and billing through subunits. CDC aims to continue to create valuable consumer data assets and transactions for users and businesses. So Yang Ning can be described as China's earliest batch of successful internet entrepreneurs whose currently net worth is approximately 1 billion USD. With such financial freedom and wealth, tell us why you would create a new company again, given that life as an entrepreneur is extremely hectic compared to living life as an angel investor.
Well, hi everybody. It's great to be here. a little minor correction. I'm not founding a new company because a company is the traditional centralized way of thinking. In the blockchain, pure blockchain way of thinking is that a pure blockchain project is actually a social enterprise. So most of the blockchain projects are registered as nonprofit foundations, and that's the core concept of the blockchains. So I am a blockchain entrepreneur, but not a company entrepreneur like what I have done before, which the company I took public on NASDAQ. The reason why I chose to become a part of the blockchain revolution is that it goes back to the times when I started my first internet company was in the late 90s. So I was one of the first ones to get into the internet industry, to start the internet. And when we started working on the internet industry, it was very, very new, and nobody knew what the internet was about, which we believed that internet was about distributed computing. So it's about computing resources being distributed to all these computers connected together through the internet. So everybody was building their websites, and you go on different websites. It was very, very happy. And then what we saw, what happened in the past 20 years after I founded my first company, is that the internet resources become centralized, become monopolized. So what happens is that these huge, giant, monstrous companies that came about, such as Google, Facebook, Amazon, Alibaba, Tencent, Baidu, a handful of these companies monopolize the entire resource of the internet. So internet was not a pure internet anymore. So internet was not fun anymore. So these monstrous companies hogged all the resources of consumer data, big data, cloud computing resources, everything. So ended up that most of these little companies, the websites and the internet companies, they have no room to grow. So I call these major mega internet companies these evil access. So these monstrous companies are hogging all the resources. And when blockchain came about, I found that this is going back to the pure roots of the internet. It's about the power being distributed toward everybody. So I totally got into this blockchain revolution, and I believe we're going to, through the blockchain revolution and through the power of CDC, which I'm going to explain a little bit later, that it's going to topple or overthrow these evil center of power, such as Google, Facebook, Amazon, Alibaba. So in the later on in the show, I'm going to show you and tell you how CDC is going to do that, or how we aim to do that.
I really love the way you put it. You sound very passionate about blockchain technology.
Absolutely. That's why although I can retire when I was 29, that's when I took my first company public. So I was, when I took the company public, I was the youngest in the history of the NASDAQ to list on the stock exchange, until Zuckerberg broke my record at 28. So today, I'm very passionate. I got back onto the saddle, and I'm going to lead the revolt against these companies that used to be very nice. You know, like Google. When Google, actually the founder of Google, Larry Page and Sergey Brin, they were my classmates at Stanford at the time when I was in Stanford. But they were very nice. You know, Google said, we don't do evil. It's like, that's a corporate model. And look at what happened. I mean, it's very, very evil. It's bossing around the partners, advertisers. It's taking the user's data, not giving the user anything. So I believe it's doing very much evil, like against what they have done, what they have came out to do when they started the company. So that's why I'm very passionate about this blockchain and about my project.
Great. Yeah, and listed at 29. That's inspirational. Well, let's get straight to giveaway number 1. Here's what you guys have been waiting for, and it's finally time for the airdrop. We will be distributing a total of 200,000 CDC. The first 10 to answer in the correct format, which is UID space the correct answer, will share the prize of the airdrop. The airdrop will happen after the project successfully gets listed onto Hadax for trading, and if the project is not successfully listed, then there will be no airdrop. Yang Ning, please share with us and the audience the number 1 question for the giveaway.
Okay, so basically it's what I plan to do, okay, after every question, my answer is that the answer to this trivia question is going to be a part of what I just said before. So just making sure that you're paying attention. So my first question is that in most blockchain projects, in the purest form, the blockchain mindset would not be called companies, what would they be registered as? Or what's their type? Instead of companies, what are these blockchain projects called?
So just to summarize that, what are these blockchain companies called?
I registered that as, or what they're not considered companies. They're considered what? Which I just mentioned.
Okay, let's see what the audience says.
Can we see the answers on the screen, or?
Let's wait for any. Is there any live stream from our audience?
Or that would be too difficult. I can give a more freebie. That's the first question.
So these companies are not listed as, sorry, these projects are not listed
registered as companies, but they're registered as what? Or they will be called what?
Okay, we're just logging on to see the comments.
Yes, I see a lot of people have answered already.
Nonprofit organizations.
Nonprofit organizations.
Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, the correct answer from a lot of people.
A lot of people.
Good job, they've been listening.
They've been listening.
Is
Okay.
nonprofit foundation, nonprofit organizations.
Yes.
Great, okay.
Okay.
Let's move on to question number 2. Keep those comments going, guys. Looks great. Very attentive audience today. Okay, so Yang Ning, you have a great amount of internet entrepreneurial experience from the past. How do you think that you are different from the entrepreneurs in the current industry of blockchain now? And what sets you apart from the rest?
I think a blockchain since the beginning, right, since 2009, although I heard of blockchain very early on because my company, the company I founded, which went public on NASDAQ, was invested by Draper Fisher Jefferson from Silicon Valley, and Tim Draper has always been a big backer of blockchains. So in 2009, 2010, when I met Tim again, and he was telling me about Bitcoins, he was telling me about blockchains, I thought, oh, is there any value to these coins? They're like just game coins. And, I didn't think anything of it. Then, and later on, a few years passed, I still thought that blockchains is more like fraud, scam. It's very. I didn't believe it was going to be anything. This is what the future is going to hold. Then, so what happens is that most of the mainstream entrepreneurs and mainstream investors were not participating in blockchain, and it was the outcasts or the alternative people were in this blockchain industry. So what happens in 2017, what happened is, like myself, among many other internet entrepreneurs, some of the very famous ones and the very famous investors, they all got into this blockchain. So blockchain is becoming mainstream. And what I bring to this world of blockchains is my experience as a very early internet entrepreneur. So I seen the internet what it should be. So we were the dreamers, we were the first dreamers of the internet, and I saw how the internet got corrupted by these huge mega giants, monstrous companies. So when blockchain come about, so I feel that my experience as a experienced internet entrepreneur, I can bring to blockchains more experience and perhaps help guide it or put my effort into it, making blockchain to become very, very real, very mainstream, and truly change the world.
You're so right. I remember going to the blockchain conferences just a year or two ago, and everybody there was so interesting. I mean, they had their own character and kind of different vibes. And over the past 1 year, it's already become white-collared people. You can already see the difference.
You can see the difference,
exactly,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, well, let's go to giveaway number 2. This is what you guys have been waiting for, and it's time for the airdrop. We will be distributing a total of 200,000 CDC. The first 10 to answer in the correct format, UID space the correct answer, will share the prize of the airdrop. The airdrop will happen after the project successfully gets listed onto Hadax for trading. If the project is not successfully listed, then there will be no airdrop. So Yang Ning, please share with the audience the number 2 question for the giveaway.
Okay, this question also came from my my answer just a minute ago. Can you name the very top Silicon Valley investor who was a very early backers of Bitcoin, very early backer of blockchain? You can either name him or the VC fund he's part of.
That's a good question. Let's see. Oh, we got one, got two. The answers are, come on, keep them coming, guys. That's great. I mean, such an interactive audience tonight, and everybody's listening carefully. The comments are just dropping in. Isn't that impressive?
So you guys are listening. Great.
They're definitely listening to you. Well, do you want to share with them what the right answer is?
Okay, it's Tim Draper of Draper Fisher Jefferson.
That's correct. Okay, well, Yang Ning is a serial entrepreneur. And as a successful angel investor, what are the advantages of doing a blockchain project compared to the other projects?
I think when I was an investor in the traditional sense, I was a very after I sold my company, my public company, I became a very active angel investor, which I started a couple angel funds, and also the founding president of the China's largest angel investor association as well. So I was a very big part of the traditional capital markets as an angel investor very early, then VC, private equity, public, going that route. But the traditional way of raising capital and exiting was very, very slow. Usually, as an angel investor, you have to wait many years before your investment can get any kind of return. So, for example, as an angel investor, typically you get return 5 to 7 years after you make the investment. That was a long time to wait. And in the blockchain world, in that these projects, when you invest, you get almost a ability to exit almost day one. But sometimes maybe after the ICO, it might not be good, right? It might be lower than what you invested in, but it really still it gives you a way of exit. So it's definitely the new way of raising capital or working on these projects. It has many advantages compared to the traditional ways.
I think it also teaches you a lot of patience.
Yes,
I mean,
yes.
us millennials, we're going to get too spoiled with getting returns right away.
Right away, yes.
Well, okay, let's get straight into giveaway number 3. Here's what you guys have been waiting for. It's time for the airdrop. We will be distributing a total of 200,000 CDC. First 10 to answer in the correct format, which is UID space the correct answer, will share the prize of the airdrop. The airdrop will happen after the project successfully gets listed onto Hadax for trading, and if the project is not listed, then there will be no airdrop. So Yang Ning, please share with us question number 3 for the giveaway.
Okay, what's the major advantage of the blockchain way of the blockchain investing rather than the traditional way of investing? What is the major advantage?
Let's see.
Should be a freebie.
This one was...
Yes, fast way to exit. Fast. Yes, absolutely.
That's great. Wow, a lot of comments coming in. So, yep, the answer is it is a quicker way to exit. Okay, so Yang Ning, I think you put your many years of friendly contacts, such as, now excuse my accent here, such as Li Mingyuan, former senior vice president of Baidu China, China Youth Angels Association, Li Zhu, founder of Huang Caizi, the famous reckless entrepreneur, He Cheng, to do your advisory mission. What are your considerations?
Well, I want to talents from various aspects. So you have top entrepreneurs, top people from these major internet conglomerates, top senior management. Also, you have very active investors. So I want a group of people, the team members, the participants, to be very talented, very top people in the respective fields. I think this is the only way you can get the project to become very successful, is to get as many people on board as possible. So in blockchain projects, it's really not about ownership. It's not about you hogging the resource. This is all mine. I don't want to share with anybody. This is a traditional way of doing business. You know, starting a company, you really care about dilution. That's what most of the entrepreneurs tell you is that, oh, how much are you diluted? How many percent of shares do you have? That's the first thing they mention. But in the blockchain world, you really don't do that, because if you do that, nobody wants to play with you. So it's so in the blockchain projects, it's more about sharing. It's more about community. It's more about how to get many people on board to help you to make this happen. So so the mindset of the blockchain projects and the traditional company, entrepreneurship is very different. So that's why I brought these many top people on board.
And we've seen that happen with Bitcoin. I mean, the only reason it even got to where it was because of such a democratic vote
Yes.
to support it. So I totally understand what you're saying. Let's go straight to giveaway number 4. Here's what you guys have been waiting for. It's time for the airdrop again. We will be giving away 200,000 CDC. The first 10 to answer in the correct format, which is UID space a correct answer, will share the prize of the airdrop. The airdrop will only happen after the project successfully gets listed onto Hadax for trading. If the project is not listed, then there will be no airdrop. Yang Ning, please share with the audience your next question for the giveaway.
Okay, so what are the mindset difference between blockchain project and traditional companies? What is the difference? So what is the blockchain mindset? That's the most important keyword for blockchain projects.
Let's see what our audience says. Do you see it?
Oh yes, I see it. I see many of them already.
It's sharing,
It's
sharing.
That's why we're airdropping you. It's sharing with
Sharing
everybody.
is caring, guys. Okay, well, keep those comments going. I love the audience interaction with us tonight. Let's go on. So let's hit the project section now. So Yang Ning, can you tell us more about the CDC project?
Yes, as I mentioned before, that CDC was created so that because I saw that these mega companies was monopolizing data, data being the most valuable asset on the internet today, and everybody was telling you about it, right? Big data, the value of data. But data today is monopolized by these mega corporations, namely Google, Amazon, Alibaba, Baidu, Tencent. These are the guys who owns all the data. That they reap the rewards, absolutely. Look at the profit margin of these companies. It's incredible. Look at the market caps and look how much profit they make. And each one of them makes over $100 billion a year in profits. Is that fair? That's not fair at all, because you know who provided these data? You, the consumers, the users. When you search on Google, you actually provided the data to Google. And Google took it, organized it, and sold it to these advertisers, with you getting nothing. And Alibaba, Amazon, the same thing. The stuff you buy, the traction of what you have on these in these products, the merchandising, that's what they got, the valuable data from you. So that's the reason we created CDC, Commerce Data Connection, meaning that we want to democratize data, meaning that as users, when you contribute data, you should get rewarded from the advertising. And there should not be a platform or a company or a centralized organization that makes tons of profit off these data and not sharing it with either the advertisers or with you as the consumers. So that's the concept we have. So we create this CDC to create a decentralized platform for data. So you can consider it as a blockchain for big data. So it's open, it's secure, it's anonymous, it's fair, it's sharing. So advertisers, when they advertise onto this platform, the advertising dollars, in terms of tokens, they buy the tokens, they put it into the system, and the tokens get into the users. So you, as a consumer, your data was used by these advertisers, they advertise towards you, you should get paid for it. You should get paid for it through these tokens. And this is what CDC is all about. It's a blockchain for big data. So this is the reason we created CDC. And I can explain to you later and how this blockchain works and how it will transform the way people do things in the future.
Great. Well, let's go on to giveaway number 5. Here's what you guys have been waiting for. It's time for the airdrop. We will be distributing a total of 200,000 CDC. The first 10 to answer in the correct format, which is UID space and correct answer, will share the prize of the airdrop. Once again, the airdrop will happen after the project successfully gets listed onto Hadax for trading, and if the project is not listed, then there will be no airdrop. Yang Ning, please share with the audience your next question.
Okay, what's the most valuable asset on the internet today?
The most valuable asset on the internet today. What do you think? Do you see the right answer there?
Yes, absolutely. I see the answer there.
Do you want to share with the audience? Wow, it's amazing.
Look at this. Amazing. Everybody's paying attention.
Great. That's great. Well, keep it going, guys. We appreciate your interactivism. All right. So, Yang Ning, please tell us, what is CDC special consensus mechanism?
Okay. So everybody, when you hear about blockchains or these public chains, you would you hear a thing called a consensus mechanism, meaning that this is a mechanism that they use to for mining. For consensus, for voting, for ways of getting the blockchain to move. So as consensus mechanism, you heard of POW, which means a proof of work, such as Bitcoin. So it's you have to solve the hash code, or the proof of stake, as in Ethereum, and delegated proof of stake, etc., etc. So in our way of mining, the key thing is proof of data credit, meaning that you have to the more you put data, you contribute data to the system, the more tokens or the more reward you should get. So this is the data is very important as a way of consensus building. And another way that's very, very important is a proof of capacity. Because we're talking about big data. This is very different than the public chains you have familiar with before, like Bitcoins or Ethereum. And most of the public chains you know today do not support big data, or they don't even support data, because the nodes, the amount of data they can store is very, very small, because look at the block size. The block size are in the megabytes. You know, how much data can it store? So the blocks can only store transactions. They cannot store data itself. So what CDC is going to solve is that it's going to make blockchains data compatible. So it's going to be a blockchain that can support much amount of data, also in a encrypted, anonymous, open, fair mechanism. So the way you have to do it, obviously, you cannot do it symmetrically, like these blockchains today. In blockchains today, every node has the same data, right? Well, not data, same transactions. You know, the blocks have the same transactions. But in the new way, the CDC is going to do it. It's going to be asymmetric. So so each node will store various amount of data. So only pieces of data. So as a whole, in blockchain as a whole, it has a whole entire data, the big data. But it's you can imagine it as a distributed or a decentralized search engine. Which, you know, how Google has these huge cloud, you know, that's huge data banks with lots of computers that host their search engine. But in the CDC sense, you can consider it as a distributed search engine. So the data actually stores, where is it stored at? Stored at all the nodes, all the miners' computers. That's where the data is stored. And each miner, each node actually only stores a piece of the data, not the entire data. But as collectively, that's big data, that's huge data.
Well, I mean, you just asked the audience what the most important asset was, and they said data.
Yes.
So yeah, they should be rewarded for it, you know. And this does sound like a phase 3, the next generation of cryptocurrencies.
Yes, that's what we believe we're working on.
That's great. So tell us, what kind of public chain is CDC project based on?
The public chain is currently CDC uses Ethereum to launch the token for the ICO. That's only using Ethereum as a token mechanism. So we're not building CDC on Ethereum, because Ethereum would not support the data application that we're going to build. So it just will not happen. So CDC will build its own public chain, and we're on our process on working on that. So we're considering different mechanisms. We have a work schedule. So the chain will be built on our own. We'll take ideas from various public chains and put them together. So we have our own consensus mechanism, our own distributed data architecture. So the chain will be very much different than the chains you have seen before. So you can consider a specialized version of Ethereum, because everybody knows Ethereum. Ethereum is a all-purpose public chain. We call it the Swiss Army knife of public chains. But the good thing about Swiss Army knife is that it can do everything, right? But the bad thing about Swiss Army knife, it does nothing well.
Jack of all trades, master of none.
Of none. Look at the little spoon, you know, you cannot barely eat with it on the Swiss Army knife. But so what we do is that we do a public chain specializes in big data. That's our difference, the CDC difference from Ethereum. But you can consider it as a public chain. You know, it will have a smart contract. It will support different features of these public chains, but it will be very specialized.
Great. Well, let's go straight to giveaway number 6. Here's what you guys have been waiting for. It's time for the airdrop. We will be distributing a total of 200,000 CDC. The first 10 to answer in the correct format, UID space, and the correct answer will share the prize of the airdrop. Please note the airdrop will happen after the project successfully gets listed onto Hadax for trading. And if the project is not listed, then there will be no airdrop. So Yang Ning, please share with the audience your next question for the giveaway.
Okay, how is CDC different than Ethereum? See if you guys understood what I just said.
How is CDC different from Ethereum? What do you think?
See, the one says a public chain, we're both public chain, that's how we're different. But the one that said distributed search engine, that's close. Yeah, that's good. Distributed search engine.
Distributed search engine.
Yes.
Well, good job. I mean, I love the comments coming in.
Yes.
That's great. We have a lot of people interacting with us tonight. And let's move on. We're on the last section of the program with Ask Me Anything with Yang Ning. You can ask Yang Ning any questions with regards to Commerce Data Connection, CDC. So let's see what the audience has in store for you.
Okay.
So guys, please feel free to put your comments in the your questions in the comment section, and we'll be happy to answer them.
Maybe you can pick the questions for me.
Okay, I think I'll pick a question.
You pick the question.
When is the public chain launching?
It's launching the public chain or our ICO. The public chain itself, we're working on it day and night. I'm leading the team because I have been the CTO for 2 public companies and the early pioneers in the internet. So the architecture, I'm looking very deeply into architecture and working on the alpha version of the public chain. I believe the early version of it, you are probably going to see it on GitHub sometime later on this year.
Cool. Let's go with one more question. I like this one. What problem is CDC going to resolve?
The major problem that CDC is going to resolve is that, like I mentioned before, it's going to topple over these monopolies, the monopolies of the data. So it's going to make the data freely available to everyone. So that's the purpose of CDC. So make it not free, because you still have to pay for it, but whatever the advertisers pay go directly to the consumer, the provider of data. So that's why that's the problem that CDC is going to solve.
Great. Would you like to do one more question or move on?
Sure.
Okay. And guys, remember these are questions for Yang Ning tonight. Okay, let's see. A lot of people are asking you about the white paper, which is online.
It's online, yes. It's online. And this is the current white paper. We're going to work on a technical white paper, which I'm going to come about. So I'm working with the engineers, coming out with the engineering version when we finalize our architecture. Because as you can see, this is an ongoing project. So we're considering many mechanisms and many of the algorithms. Because when you make these decisions, it's very important. Because in the blockchain world, it's very open. It's very so if you don't design it right, bad people are going to take advantage of your system. So when you make these design decisions, it's very important. And also about consensus building. If you don't have a great consensus building mechanism, and in the future you might have big problems. Well, the problems, what would happen? You have these hard forks. So the community will be divided, and that happened to Bitcoin, that happened to Ethereum. That's why you have these divided worlds. So so when we make these design decisions, we're doing it very carefully. And once we have the design decisions set, we're going to come out with our technical white paper. So I think that's going to be so to show how we're going to get this done.
Well, a lot of people are asking on the comments as well, who are your competitors? Would you like to answer that for the audience?
Our competitors, as in the blockchain world or in the traditional world? In the traditional world, we don't believe we have competitors because we're actually attacking them from a higher dimension. Google cannot touch us because we're on another dimension, or Baidu or Alibaba. When they try to attack us, they cannot because we're a higher dimension. It's like an ant. You know, they're crawling on the 2 dimension, they're trying to attack you. The ants cannot jump or fly, so they cannot attack you. But so we don't consider these traditional giants as our competitors. But what we consider competitors may be other projects, other teams who are also working with data, consumer data with the blockchains. I heard of some of these projects. I welcome them as competitors because in the blockchain world, it's not about competing. It's about uniting. So perhaps in the future that when we become big, they might join us, or there's different things that can happen. And perhaps they can be a part of our public chain, or grow on top of our public chain. So because when we want to build a CDC, we're not going to build it like a company. So we're not going to be heavily operating. So it's not going to be a ton of people. Like, in Google, they have maybe like 50,000 employees, or Alibaba, close to 100,000 employees. We're never going to be like that. So what we're going to be is it's going to be a very small team. It's going to be very decentralized. It's going to provide a ecosystem, a platform, so a public chain. So for other teams to build on top of it. Just like an example I can make is just like Ethereum. The Ethereum team is actually very small, and many teams build on top of it. So you can have your own tokens, you have your own smart contracts, you have your own decentralized apps built on top of Ethereum. And we want to do the same thing. We want teams to build their projects on top of CDC. So a specialized version of Ethereum. Maybe this is the way you can consider it.
Great. Thank you so much, Yang Ning. Now here comes our special bonus game. Simply screenshot this live stream, tweet it, tag Huobi Pro with your remarks. For example, thank you, Huobi Pro. I learned so much. To qualify for the game bonus airdrop of many tokens, comment here with your UID space Twitter post URL. The top 10 most retweeted posts by the next day, 12 noon, will win 100,000 UUU, 1.83 million PC, and 40,000 AAC. That's a lot of tokens, guys. The airdrop will happen after the project successfully gets listed onto Hadax for trading. If the project is not successfully listed, then there will be no airdrop. Quick, guys, tweet now and be among the top 10. A little disclaimer, there are risks involved and users are advised to exercise caution in trading. When in doubt to the actions you should take, please consult your solicitors or other professional advisors. And that's it from us today. If you want to find out more or have any questions for us, you can find us on Telegram, t.me/HuobiProOfficial. Twitter at Huobi Pro, and catch us live for the next episode tomorrow, where we will be introducing Promotion Change and IoTX airdropping 6.6 million PC and 500,000 IoTX tokens. We apologize for those who have submitted the wrong formats, as they will be disqualified. Thank you for joining us on the Huobi Talk, the #1 talk show that gives you insights in the world of blockchain.